You are born into a legacy of blood. The executioner's hood is your only inheritance. Your house stands isolated outside the city walls. You are an outcast by birth, a man whose shadow is feared. As a boy, you watch your father sharpen the heavy steel. You practice your strike on pumpkins and heavy wooden blocks. Precision is your only mercy in this trade. The day of your first official task arrives. Your hands sweat inside your heavy leather gloves. You don the traditional red tunic of the office. You walk through the screaming, angry crowd. They fear you, yet they cannot look away from the spectacle. You climb the wooden steps of the scaffold. The condemned man looks into your eyes. You see a human, but the law sees only a task to be finished. The priest whispers the last rites over the noise of the mob. You position the victim's neck on the cold wooden block. The rough grain of the wood scrapes against their skin. Heavy silence falls over the thousands in attendance. You lift the heavy steel executioner's sword. You strike with the weight of centuries behind your arms. You clean the blade with a piece of rough linen. The steel must remain flawless for the next soul. You receive your payment in blood-stained coins. No one in the tavern will sit at your table tonight. You drink your ale in a silence that never ends. You return home to your children. You wonder if they will carry the same cold steel one day. You are the master of the border between life and death. You are the necessary shadow of a cruel and unforgiving age. You cannot marry for love. You marry the daughter of another executioner to keep the bloodline pure and cursed. Between executions, you are the master of the dungeon. You turn the iron crank of the rack until the bone pops. The smell of the torture chamber is thick with old sweat and rusted iron. You oil the hinges of the iron maiden with rhythmic precision. Sleep never comes easy when your hands carry the ghosts of the city. Today, a nobleman stands on your stage. For him, you use the sword, not the axe. A sword strike requires a standing target and a perfect arc. You touch the prisoner's shoulder. It is the only human contact they have had in weeks. Prisoner kneels and asks for a quick end. You nod, for you are the only one who can grant that mercy. One mistake, and the crowd will turn into a pack of wolves. They will stone you if the head does not fall with a single blow. You study the vertebrae of an old skeleton in your cellar. After the deed, you lift the head for the masses to see. You feel nothing but the heavy ache in your shoulders. You scrub the wooden boards with vinegar and sand. When you walk through the market, people cross the street to avoid your path. Your hood hides your face, but your cold, steady hands betray your identity to everyone. The tolling of the death bell vibrates in your chest. You sharpen your tools under the flickering light of a tallow candle. In this world, you are the final judge of a man's dignity. The noon sun burns the back of your neck. Heat rises from the dry straw beneath the block. You look at your young son watching from the shadows. You see the same burden beginning to settle on his small shoulders. You are the executioner, the lonely keeper of the king's justice. You are the city's secret healer. You set broken bones with the same hands that break them. People visit you under the cover of night for cures. They despise your touch, even as they beg for your help. You handle the cold bodies of the plague victims. The black death cart rattles through the silent streets. You are the silent guardian of the city's darkest secrets. A wealthy nobleman visits your cottage at midnight. He offers a purse of gold to forge a death. You reject the bribe to keep your professional honor. The harsh winter freezes the blood on the execution stone. Clear the ice from the scaffold with a heavy mallet. Your breath fogs white in the biting morning air. The crowd gathers in silence, wrapped in thick wool. The iron of the axe burns with a freezing intensity. You feel the ghosts of your ancestors standing behind you. Grim portraits of your fathers watch from the stone walls. You are another link in an endless chain of blood. Wash your face in a basin of ice-cold water. The mask is the only face the world will ever see. You walk through the mud of the marketplace alone. No one dares to let their shadow touch yours. You spend hours honing the edge of your sword. One blunt spot could mean a slow, agonizing death for the condemned. You pray in the back of the cathedral where no one can see you. You ask for forgiveness for a sin that is your job. Your back aches from years of lifting the heavy steel. The weight of your duty is heavier than the sword itself. A drum roll begins to vibrate through the wooden floor of the scaffold. The sound echoes in the hollow of your stomach. You stare at the copper-colored sun setting over the gallows. The judge reads the sentence from a high balcony. You stand below, a silent instrument of his words. You whisper a final comfort to the trembling man. You tell him to hold still, so the end comes fast. The smell of cheap wine and wet dog rises from the spectators. You check the balance of your axe one last time. The strike is clean, and the world goes quiet for a heartbeat. The heavy thud on the wood is the only sound. You burn your stained clothes in a small pit behind your house. The smoke smells of iron and old regrets. You teach your son how to find the space between the joints. His eyes are full of a fear you recognize too well. Rumors of a new law reach your ears. You tend to your garden of poisonous hemlock and healing sage. Life and death grow side by side under your care. Your hair has turned the color of the steel you carry. Prisoner refuses his last meal. You eat the bread yourself, so it does not go to waste. The town council pays you in secret through a hole in the wall. They cannot be seen shaking the hand of the headsman. Each scar in the wood is a story you have ended. You are the executioner, the man the world needs but cannot love. Your story ends in a grave with no name. Feel the joints in your fingers stiffen like old leather. The heavy steel sword feels like a mountain in your grasp. You see the faces of 1,000 men in the ripples of your soup. Your son stands ready to take the mask. He does not want this life, but the city leaves him no choice. You watch him walk up the wooden steps for the first time. You feel a sharp pain in your chest that no blade can match. The blood on the boards never truly washes away from your dreams. You sit by the fire and listen to the winter wind. It sounds like the collective sigh of those who died by your hand. You are the most famous man in the city, yet no one knows your true face. You hang the great sword on the wall for the final time. It is finally silent. You look at the silver coins piled on your rough table. They are the price of 1,000 souls and a lifetime of solitude. You walk to the river to wash your hands. The water runs clear, but you still feel the stain of the iron. You remember the noble who died with a terrifying smile. You remember the thief who died screaming for a mother who never came. You are the keeper of the line between order and chaos. You teach your grandson the names of the muscles and the bones. The sun rises on a new, colder century. Age of the sword begins to fade into history. You close your eyes and feel the scent of wet sawdust. Your work is done. The city has its justice, and you have your silence. You leave the hood on a stool for the next man to carry the curse. You are the executioner. You are finally free.